Let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today we're unpacking the sheer cinematic brilliance of a perfect mythological trap. We're looking at a narrative masterclass from the story known as the 14th Hour. You know, what's so wild about this text is how it builds an absolutely inescapable scenario. It doesn't rely on brute force. Nope, it's all about perfectly engineered psychological and spiritual pressure. We're going to deconstruct exactly how this trap is built, piece by piece, and look at the literally impossible dilemma it drops on our protagonist.
So picture this. We drop right into a dense, mystical Indian jungle right at golden hour. But it's not peaceful at all. There's this heavy, suffocating afternoon heat just hanging over the scorched, twisted woods of the Kamiyaka forest. Right in the middle of this, bathed in high-contrast sunlight, is an ancient stone temple entrances. And standing defiantly at this threshold is our guy, Anant. He's a lone warrior priest, decked out in traditional white dhotis, gripping a heavy iron staff. The whole vibe here is incredibly dense, heavy, and just completely isolated.
Now, Anant isn't just standing guard outside an empty room. Oh no. Tucked inside that secluded Shiva shrine sits a glowing copper urn, and inside that urn, the Amrita Kalasha, the sacred nectar of immortality. It's been stashed there for safekeeping during a super-specific, ultra-rare cosmic alignment. So right off the bat, we know the stakes, right? Whatever is about to go down, the grand prize is quite literally eternal life.
You know, to build real suspense, you've got to have rules. And Anant's guru gave him one absolute, non-negotiable instruction. Guard the threshold until the sun dips entirely below the horizon. The exact second that first star pops up in the night sky, the seal on the shrine becomes permanent, and the nectar is locked away safe forever. But up until that exact celestial moment, the nectar's totally vulnerable. Anybody who steps foot inside could steal it.
This unbending rule creates a brilliant ticking clock, drastically shrinking our window of time. The story shifts us from that oppressive afternoon heat down to just one single, hyper-vulnerable hour right before twilight. It's a classic narrative device, but man, is it executed beautifully here. By anchoring that permanent seal to the appearance of the first star, we start feeling the exact same pressure Anant is feeling. The finish line is agonizingly close, which makes every passing minute of this hour incredibly tense.
And then, right at the absolute worst possible moment, the environment reacts. That suffocating heat, suddenly gone. The forest goes completely dead silent. The birds just stop singing, and the air turns inexplicably freezing cold. Then, stepping out from the dense, dark tree line, a towering traveler emerges. The environment itself is literally screaming at Anant and us that an enigmatic, wildly powerful threat has just arrived on the scene.
The sheer brilliance of this threat comes down to the crazy contrast between how he looks and how he feels. The traveler walks up to the stone threshold wearing the simple, tattered saffron robes of a wandering ascetic, and he just asks to come in, to offer a final prayer before sundown. Sounds like a humble, totally innocent request, right? But his stride is heavy. His eyes are just burning with this unnatural, piercing intensity. It's this terrifying clash, the peaceful saffron robes completely at odds with the menacing aura of this tall stranger demanding entry.
Which brings us to the hypnotic trap, essentially a psychological assault. Anant immediately raises his iron staff to deny him entry based on the sacred hour, but the battle instantly pivots from physical force to a really intricate mental war.
Okay, this is where the trap actually springs. The traveler doesn't draw a weapon, he doesn't start yelling. Instead, he just stops, smiles, and starts speaking. And he isn't spitting threats either. He starts reciting a highly classified, incredibly complex lineage of mantras. And we're not talking about just any standard prayers here. These are deeply guarded secrets that only Anant's specific lineage could possibly know. So instead of brute force, the enemy weaponizes this deep insider knowledge. It casts this hypnotic fog over Anant's mind, totally paralyzing the young warrior with familiarity and profound confusion.
As that hypnotic fog really sets in, we hit the shadow of Ravana, where the illusion finally breaks.
While the traveler is speaking those mantras, Anant's eyes drift down to the dusty ground, illuminated by that late afternoon sun. And while a peaceful man is standing right in front of him, the shadow stretching across the dirt tells a terrifyingly different story. The shadow reveals shifting, spectral arms gripping celestial weapons, and the absolutely unmistakable silhouette of 10 crowned heads. Yup, it's Ravana, the demon king himself, using a flawless physical disguise to bypass the shrine's defenses.
Let's break down Ravana's strategy here, because it engineers a literally inescapable dilemma.
Step 1, wear the ragged robes of an ascetic, because in this culture, striking a holy man is a massive, unforgivable sin. Step 2, recite those classified mantras. This completely disorients Anant and drops his mental defenses. Step 3, nail the timing. He exploits that ticking clock right as the sun touches the horizon, leaving Anant absolutely zero time to think it through or call for backup. It is just a multi-layered, expertly crafted psychological vice.
And this brings us to the absolute core of the situation. It matters because it perfectly captures that universal human tension, being trapped between two genuinely catastrophic choices. And Nand realizes the true horror of his reality right then and there. If he trusts his gut, raises his iron staff, and strikes the disguised threat, he gets hit with a permanent, soul-crushing curse for attacking an ascetic. But if he follows the absolute letter of the law and steps aside for even a single second to let a quote-unquote holy man pray, the illusion walks right in and takes the nectar of immortality.
The sun is literally touching the horizon right now. The mantras are completely clouding his judgment, and that terrifying 10-headed shadow is creeping forward across the dirt. He is trapped. So I'll leave you with this final, impossible question to chew on. If it were you, standing at that ancient stone threshold, caught up in the hypnotic fog of a perfect trap, do you strike the ascetic and damn your soul forever, or do you stand aside and hand over the nectar of immortality to a demon king?